Find out where the actual map is going to be before we start theory crafting on what's going to happen in this match. You can see Ninjas of Pajamas will be starting on defense. We'll have Pain on attack, and here we go.
Console and Border, of course, the two auto bans for this matchup, as those maps were played yesterday, actually in abundance, twice Console, twice Border, and Oregon. We stick so far to the same system of Latin America. We played Villa once. Otherwise, let's just keep with the standard maps. We're not going to change it around too much, and it kind of keeps a lot of those extra strategies away from the prying eyes from other regions that are definitely looking at this and preparing for the next upcoming biggest tournament ever in Siege, basically.
I think Oregon's going to make this a really exciting match.
Oh yeah, it always is.
Yeah, I think as far as Oregon goes, it's a really interesting map. It's not exactly the most competitively viable map that we have in Pro League, but it is hotly disputed on that point because there are certain teams that really do like this map, and it adheres to a certain playstyle that is so much different than the rest. There's a lot less ability to roam. You're a lot more restricted on the defense just in general, but it also has its own rigid way where you can roam.
And this is still NiP. Remember, this is a team that plays WOG Smoke with a suppressor SMG-11 up in generator to basically try to fight anybody who goes into the lobby. So it is fairly complicated for most people to just watch this game and be like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. It's just super easy because it's a lot of maneuvering that both teams try to do. We'll see what you guys think about it though directly in the vote.
Huh.
Not too surprising.
No, not surprised at all. I mean, if you look at the record of these teams, if you look at the way that they've been playing so far this season, Ninjas of Pajamas is going to be the favorite child for this match by far and away. Pain have had some luck, but not very much, and beating Ints at the beginning of the season still feels like it feels like ages ago, Gaston, even though it was just the beginning of this month.
It was 2018, actually. That was the first Latin America game.
Really? Oh, yeah, no, you're right. That was the one play day that happened in the last year.
Yeah, it wasn't the game on Clubhouse where the thermite charge kind of made the reinforced wall disappear into thin air, but it was still on Oregon, actually, and it was a tight win at the end for Pain. So it is fairly debatable. Maybe they just squeezed out that extra round at the end. It wasn't more tied.
That first day for Latin America was a little bit weird for everybody, I think. Yes. And yeah, it was an interesting day. And since then, again, Pain not really having much success. They really need to show up here today. Oh, it's going to take some time before we actually have everything ready, though.
Yeah, we'll see if they actually can face off against NiP. Because yesterday, when we had that poll as well, the community poll, we had the pretty much close numbers to what we had today with the 85% for NiP. Well, it ended up tying to Red Devils.
Yeah, I mean, going into that NiP Red Devils match, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, going into that NiP Red Devils match, it was the same thing. You would expect Ninjas of Pajamas to win that, 100%. Hands down. And going into this, it's the same thing. You would expect Ninjas of Pajamas to beat Pain Gaming. That is what you anticipate. But it's not always, we don't always get what we expect when it comes to Pro League, and we've seen a lot of upset days.
And when it comes to NiP on Oregon, that's a team that has been playing Oregon since basically the inception of it, because they basically invented the top floor roam when nobody started roaming on that top floor. They were the ones that started putting reinforcements in the bedrooms. They're the ones that started to play there with a smoke even. No one else was doing it in the meantime. And then people realized around Invitational of last year, like, hey, we can actually put bodies on the top and try to delay the attackers before they go down to the laundry, for example, which is the site that usually do sort of stuff like that on it. But also on the attack, how many times have you seen the Julio and WOG duo between the Blitz and the Monty? These operator bands, I think, are going to be very important in this matchup.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, and we'll see how those bands play out. The way that the map is going to be played is going to be very interesting as well, because the meta on Oregon is ever shifting.
Yeah.
You never see the same thing twice here, it feels like, and while it is a rigid map in some ways, especially for the defense, there's always some kind of new thing that each team is trying to bring out, or they'll try one of the older parts of the meta for Oregon, and that's one of the things that I always like about seeing Oregon played is sometimes you get to reach far, far back, years even, to see how everyone's going to be playing it in terms of setups and attacks.
It's been the similar thing with Clubhouse as well. You say this quite a few times and kind of quote it as many times as possible. Metagame's always cyclical, and you see these old strategies that were used in year one back in your days, Mr. Old Man.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was...
I have not played professionally for multiple years.
The skill is still there. That's what I see. No. No, not there. Well, point of the matter is, back in the day, you used to see, for example, on Clubhouse, a lot of church takes with Thermite. Why? Because that's literally your only hard breacher. Right?
Yep.
You kind of start seeing that again nowadays quite a bit, and with a lot of smoke play as well, as much as humanly possible. Back in the day, you had Ashe that had smokes. You don't have that luxury anymore, thank God. But you still have a lot of maneuvering to do around operators like Jackal, for example, that has seen a huge resurgence in metagame. Buck as well, just destroy everything. The soft breacher has been doing so much work in all regions, even in Latin America, region that in the past year has kind of started to ease its way into Buck.
I mean, they've been playing Buck, what is he, a 70% pick rate in Latin America, I believe? So
fairly high up. It's
yeah.
It's like number 3 under Thermite, which is pretty darn good. They didn't used to do that, though. That's the thing. It's all in recent memory. And see, the first ban that'll be Thatcher. Nothing too surprising here is you'll be expecting a lot of laundry play. So even on the top floor in the hallway. So Thatcher is a pretty good operator to remove here.
You know, one of the really interesting things about that Thatcher ban is that if you're going to be on the first ban, then you might have to get rid of him if you want to have any hope in playing that mute, but it also forces your opponents now Pain to ban the mute. So we'll see them ban mute, I'm very sure, in just a bit, unless Pain is willing to commit fully to the mute strategy, which it will make it an interesting match. And there you go. They are going to commit, which means that Pain, starting on defense, will have a decisive advantage in terms of their basement hold should they not ban mute, which is very likely given that they banned Thatcher.
Yeah, there you go. Echo Maestro, this is looking like a lot more of a, standard regional ban phase.
Well,
but, mute's going to be still in play. And NiP, you mentioned they're going to start up on defense. They're going to have a pretty big advantage if they're going to run the mute.
Yeah, this is why one of the reasons I really like to see Oregon played, because now we will be seeing mute probably most of these rounds. You can see, even though it looks like NiP are going to start upstairs, they're still going to bring the mute because he's very useful.
Yep.
We've talked about this a lot. His getting the SMG-11 has shoved him way into the meta. People across the world are playing him much more frequently now, and yeah, he's become a staple, especially on a map like Oregon. So, yeah, you can expect to see him frequently. This is interesting, these 6 picks coming out. Habana into a Maverick, and then a Smoke into a Castle. The Castle, I get. Ninjas in Pajamas might try that extended strategy that we've seen happen in LATAM before, where you try to hold on to Master and Armory a little bit longer. Castle Barricades can assist you in that endeavor. They also could potentially roam downstairs or heavily into Meeting Hall. That's their prerogative. On the note of the Maverick, it makes sense because there's a Thermite in play for Pain, so they're going to use the Maverick to get the Bandit batteries, should there be any, or the Mute Jammers in this case, since there is no Bandit, instead of having a Thatcher, which is banned. So all of this making sense, just a little bit interesting. And again, this, I think, really is a big showcase for this map and the way that this ban phase played out.
Yeah, and there are many ways to play up top here. They're going to set up quite a bit of utility within the hallway, and you see even the bulletproof camera that's set in the dorm's main hall, so right by the main window. And all of that will support Julio in just gauging the situation, getting information. As usually, the biggest downside of the Mira is the fact that you can't see through smokes. Well, guess what? There's a Jackal on the other team, and what does he do? Well, he also has smokes, which means that everything kind of works very well with his kit, and smoking off Mira windows before going for an assault, even when you don't have a Capitao, is a very good thing for you to use. And that bulletproof camera is going to do quite a bit of work in the bedroom on top.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a master take. That's what Pain Gaming are setting up for right now. And as you can see, Ninjas in Pajamas using those Castle Barricades and Mute Jammers are trying an extended roam by Armory. But it looks like the Castle is going to fall back. And better safe than sorry, I suppose. A little bit of time wasted. This is some inefficiency in terms of utility from Spawns using that skeleton key. Certainly could have used his actual gun to open that up. You really do need that soft destruction more than you do need the bullets. The utility is one of the main reasons you're going to be bringing the Buck. And most operators, Buck included, start with plenty of ammunition.
Yeah, now the entire premise here of the attack Pain Gaming is, take control of Armory, take control of Master Bedroom. That's why you saw so much utility being dedicated by the defense into the hallway and those locations. You saw even the bulletproof camera there, which is looking all the way down the hallway, so a lot of information that can be gathered. This all counters the fact that the Maestro is banned in this situation.
The fact that Buck has managed to work his way into Kitchen is going to be huge for Pain if Spawns can make some work happen with that skeleton key. He might be waiting for somebody to drone the top floor so he has clear information, but not rushing it seems to be the right call.
And very smart here from Psycho to hold off the trigger. He has information on the players that are in and has at least spotted part of their bodies, at least one of them. And still watching from tower. It's very interesting because in other regions, usually what a lot of teams will do is clear the tower first before going for the assault in the armory. But in this case, because there was nobody really downstairs to deal with Pain, they're gonna walk right on in and not having to deal with the mute jammers. They've already been taken down because you have that Maverick. You explained it where you can just destroy it by opening up the hole in the wall. This is full control.
It's quite interesting that Spawns has not opened anything up. He only has 40 seconds left to work with, and instead he's just been on flank watch duty. Definitely some lost potential there from the Buck, but he does have an opponent coming close to this rotation hole, so patience might pay off in the end, but not if Spawns decides to move as we come down to the last 20 seconds.
Psycho on his own here in the meeting hall. Spawn still in the kitchen. Can't hear one another, but they know there's something unreal happening here. Wog still up close. They both just come on in and say hello to one another as finally Spawn's been taken down by Psycho. But is there enough time for the defenders to walk on up and help out their comrades? Well, Julio and Kamikaze are at least going to slow things down. Half health, and Psycho will get one more in revolts. Gabriel's all on his own, trying to go for the diffuser plant. He will actually get it down, but not for long. Julio, the shotgun to the face, and the ITA will clean it all up. NiP losing only one player in that situation, and even with the bottom floor control, Pain not strong enough to hold on.
So a couple things there from Pain. First of all, their attack strategy overall was exceptionally slow. There were still players in spawn outside at about the halfway mark. You really do not want to see that from any attacking team on Oregon. The master take was smooth as butter, but there was nothing else happening in the way for Pain's attack strategy. While they managed to open up that closet wall and start pushing in and have the smokes to cover, there were plenty of pieces of counter utility from Ninjas in Pajamas to stop the plant, or at least destroy everyone attempting to cover the plant in those C4s and the like. And apart from that, the one thing that really was sad for me to watch was Spawns downstairs, because he got into kitchen about the halfway mark, a little bit earlier maybe, and then he held the angle into the meeting hall, trying to deny the flank for a solid amount of time, up into about the last 20 seconds of the round. And as soon as he came off the angle, Psycho entered into that very angle that he was attempting to hold, and that rotation came out. So that was really sad to watch for Spawns, but I gotta be honest, it was partially his fault as well as his team's fault, because the Buck should not have been watching the flank. He should have been opening up from underneath. So that's a bit of a miscalculation on Pain Gaming's side, something they're gonna need to correct the next time they go to an attack on the top floor. But looky here, an attack onto tower is gonna be their next target. This is a really interesting move by Ninja Pajamas. Tower is a sparsely defended site, and usually it's only defended when you've successfully held the basement and the top floor. But despite having a Thatcher ban and Mute not being banned, Ninjas in Pajamas are going to avoid the basement, at least so far.
Yeah, I don't know if they're thinking it as, as the site is as good as one. So they're just going to play other stuff before they head down to it. But maybe that is the case. The Maverick in this situation for Pain definitely helps out as well, and you can clear those bandit batteries fairly easily, just by using your blowtorch, your Suri. So all is in the pocket of Pain Gaming. They also have the Ying should they want to go aggressively for the take into the tower, either from the window or from the bottom floor. All is in their pocket. How are they going to use it? That's going to be the problem. It was a similar thing in that first round. They were not able to exploit the good positioning they were in, and mid-round decisions were not called out efficiently enough to distribute the players in correct situations.
Mute Jammer's not doing a good enough job there to protect the information for Ninjas in Pajamas, and FK1 allowed to get into kitchen. He will be confronted by a mirror window. Well, it's not going to be an easy push when he decides to go to that meeting hall, but he can do, at the very least, a solid flank hold here. He's got information continuing to fall in thanks to that excellent drone work from Pain Gaming. Not able to act on it just yet. GCR will disable the mirror window and take out WAG in the process. Excellent job there using the blowtorch, and Pain Gaming put themselves up a man.
Yeah, quite a bit of time here left for Pain as well, considering the fact that this is tower. GCR will start working on the second wall here, and it's going to be used against him. Pino with a perfect bait here will fall back as there was nobody actually watching the outside of the attic here to take him out, and the mirror window will at least give him some sort of support. Gabrielos maybe setting up to open the wall here on the side, but it's a 4v4 equilibrium, and Pino with the Nitro Cell in hand can definitely contest this.
It's very dangerous, though. He's got to be worried about the window, of course. That could be challenged at any moment. And once it gets opened up, there you go. He's going to fall back. I think the right call there from Pino. Better safe than sorry, especially if he's come down the last 40 seconds. Kamikaze will take out Revolt as well. So Ninjas in Pajamas, certainly good position right now. Still a Ying in play, so Pang is going to have that explosive power when they enter the site.
Yeah, comboing the Jackal Smokes with the Candelas now is definitely not available for Pain. If they did, would have been much stronger to smoke off position. Just seeing, the fault on the outside. Psycho will get the kill on spawns, and there's still one in the back. They have him spotted, but Gabrielos unable to take the shot. See the Valkyrie running all the way around. Psycho living up to the name. As Thermite will have to go for the plant. FK1 finally down. What? He gets shot down. Where's his teammate? FK1 is downstairs. He's low on health. He'll find a second kill, but non-impact kills, as you would say. 1 second left, and all you're looking for just frag chasing at the end. That's not how you go for the take.
I have no idea what FK1 was thinking there. He dropped while his teammate was attempting to plant in the corner of tower. That's default spot for tower. And why was he was inside meeting hall, and he fell through the drop down. Why? Must have been a mistake for FK1, because there is no other reason for him to commit to that play. Of course, there was somebody downstairs. I understand that, but you need to cover your planter, as you were the only one else in play up for Pain. Overall, the attack strategy there from Pain was exceptionally slow once more, which was the same thing that we saw from them in the first attack round. Ended up working against them as they attempted to go for the plant in the dying seconds of the round. You see that again, and Pain really need to correct that mistake.
It's a great 6 pick.
Yeah, 6 pick from the Jackal into the Jackal. Not too crazy, I guess. And it will be finally a defense of the basement for Ninjas in Pajamas. So we're waiting to get here. And this is where having that mute is going to be such a huge factor. The Maverick, of course, is in play for Pain, but you can contest the Maverick as he attempts to go for the mute jammers.
Yeah, which is a bit surprising, the fact that Pain did not go for a Twitch. We've seen a lot of teams going for the Twitch in this situation, but what is the easiest way to deal with this? Usually those 2 mute jammers that are set up downstairs are to block the hatch upstairs, right? In the lobby. Well, what do? You bring the Maverick, he opens up the small holes, easy kill. Or so you would think on the mute jammers, as there's going to be players downstairs in full safety trying to shut you down. And the meeting hall is definitely something you have to clear here just to be sure that nobody's going to push you from the sides whilst you're busy doing this sort of close-up nitpicky work.
Nice camera here from Pino. That's going to get good information on the main lobby. You could see he's already being pressured from that main lobby door and will be forced to rotate. But, he managed to get off the camera in time, and it has gone thus far undetected by Pain Gaming. So this is already a win for Ninjas in Pajamas. They will have a clear understanding of where the attack strategy is going to be located, and that will make their job so much easier.
Meantime, Pain fairly focusing on the fact that there's those mute jammers that they're going to have to deal with, and well enough. This is why they're probably not bringing the IQ in this situation, which obviously would have been a good way to counter any Valkyrie cameras and a lot of the goo mines that are going to be sprayed around the map. In the meantime, around the back, the lower tower, and nobody moving in through there, just in case there's an early round flank. Now that's going to happen. NiP just still setting up, and Wog on the smoke playing in the tower as well in the back meeting hall can easily rotate down the tower to safety towards his teammates in the laundry, so not too much of an exposed position.
Well, more of the same here from Pain. Slow goes, and it hasn't worked for them thus far. This time it is an attack onto the basement, so you're going to see it come down to the dying seconds of the round 9 times out of 10. If you're not going for a back rush, and that's clearly not the strategy here for Pain Gaming. They were successful, as you just saw, in getting the mute jammer, though, using that Maverick, which is somewhat surprising. You would have expected Ninjas of Pajamas to challenge it, but because they didn't, the drop will be opened up. And, well, it's better late than never in the last minute of the round, and we'll see if Pain can make an attack strategy happen here. They only have one set of smokes to work with, and that's going to be very dangerous, because it means they basically have one attempt at a plant.
Yeah, Kamikaze's still in the back meeting, and just staying here will pressure his opponents. Seen that play, for example, from Penta with Enemy. It just stays in the back of meeting hall, and no one can push him off. Usually someone like a Jaeger in this position, but Legion is definitely a good operator to put in any sort of situation like this, and there you go. FK1 will feel the pain. That's the Ash. First operator removed here from the attacking side. You see Pain with little time left on the clock. They're going to start focusing on that attack and laundry.
That camera really working out for Ninjas of Pajamas. Pain Gaming could do well with an IQ, and here they go. Again, a very late attack strategy. First C4 misses. First grenade will not. Spawns takes down Kamikaze inside a meeting hall. That is excellent control, but it might be too little too late, as NiP are still in excellent position to hold this out. Plenty of C4 and gas canisters. There is no plant happening right now. The attempted rush from Pain is looking to get that plant down in close proximity, but the C4 will directly counter it. That's all that NiP need do. A simple hold for Ninjas in Pajamas. Pain Gaming really taking too much time with their attack strategy will lose out without actually getting to use all of their utility. Sad to see, but it does happen.
And in that situation, you either plant by laundry machine or just push up to a reinforced wall. And unfortunately, the smokes were kind of very telling of which strategy, which position the attackers will go for a plant. And a good reaction from Julio to directly go shotgun the wall and C4 down. As remember, it's 7 seconds to go for a plant or even a defuse in Pro League settings. So 7 seconds is plenty of time to do some remodeling on the site, and then chuck your C4 to clean things up, and that's all you needed. 0-0 on the clock. They couldn't contest meeting hall. They were too worried about the Legion from there. And well, Legion was uncontested. He dropped the Ash and then dropped the Hatch, and that's really how the entire round really transpired. Sure, you got those mute jammers done, but they tunnel visioned so much on them that Pain ended up losing a ton of time in that round. And pushing against NiP, who had so much manpower left, yeah, that's not an easy situation.
So, Ninjas of Pajamas in complete control. 3 rounds in a row. And as you can see, Pain Gaming haven't really gotten anything done. GCR with 2 kills. I mean, we've got 3 players with kills in total on Pain Gaming's side, and only 5 kills. I mean, we're 3 rounds in. That's not a good scoreline. And yeah, kills don't mean everything, but at the same time, the point that I think that the lack of kills really highlights here for Pain is that they haven't been able to get their foot in the door for this match just yet. It could very easily be the case that they're just not comfortable on attack for Oregon. Maybe when we switch to the second half, we'll see something different.
Now, what's the big question here? Have Pain learned their lesson from the first round where they saw Psycho in that tower and then rotated all the way down to meeting hall where they kind of fought against the buck that they were bringing? Difference is here, Pain are bringing spawns to play the glass. How are things going to change compared to what they had with the buck? Well, they kind of realized we weren't really using the buck too efficiently, so we'll change off the operator.
Yeah.
We'll try to use something else.
Pain wasn't using the buck at all the last time they came here. They stuck him on a flank watch, and he just held mouse 2 for pretty much the whole round,
yeah,
and nothing came of it. So, yeah, I think this is the right call. Bringing the glass is going to help when they go for the take in through that closet wall. They have 2 sets of smoke now instead of 1, so they have more opportunities. The problem is that the lack of opportunities for Pain has come down more to the lack of time due to the poor time management from Pain, less the lack of smokes. Interesting challenge here, but he will get the mute jammer, so that's a good job there from the Maverick GCR. Could have cost him his life, but not the case. And as the thermite detonates, this is already a much more efficient round from Pain. They have the avenue that they need.
Yeah, it's a lot less time wasted than we saw before. The drones are being lost without really much information being gathered about the players on the opposite end of the defense here. Now, Pino jumping down. His walk takes a ton of damage on that peak here. Not sure. I know he wants to challenge players, but there's still one on the window that he's going to have to deal with. C4 thrown out into the closet. Will not connect, and he runs into Gabrielos. Unfortunately, that's the second one as well, taken down. GCR to turn it into a 4v2. Julio and Psycho, last two alive, and GCR finds the angle. Psycho taken down. Julio with no Nitro Cell in hand, and only the Vector here in the Mira. We'll hear the diffuser being set at the back. At least in just a second. Look at the amount of utility being thrown in. There's not much that Julio can even do in this spot as he tries to vault back into the Kitsch dorms. Spawns will find the angle on him and take him out. Pain, much different story than what we saw before.
I'm sure you guys noticed it just as much as I did. Ninjas of Pajamas handed that round to Pain on a silver platter.
Yeah.
They were peeking everything they could possibly peek, and a lot of those challenges there from Ninjas of Pajamas were completely unnecessary. It was honestly sad to watch. I really don't know what they were thinking.
You know the thing, this is very similar to what they had yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
I did not catch those matches. I was asleep. So would you like me?
Completely understandable. Basically, what happened to get that 3-3 exact ties against Red Devils, again, they should have had the advantage throughout the entire series, probably closed it out in a 7-2, 7-3 tops. Well, they didn't, because they started putting rounds on the board and then losing others because of their own mistakes, because they weren't playing the way that they usually do and just overcommitted, thought, okay, we can win just every gunfight. They got very cocky at the end. And I wanna say that those peaks were also a bit down to cockiness in this round.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say something to that degree, is exactly what was happening there for Ninjas of Pajamas. In the first 3 rounds, they were playing very cautious, very smart, very tactical. I like to see it from NiP. It was really good. They were waiting for Pain to initiate before they took the fights, and that was working very much in their favor. I have no idea what got into NiP's minds in the last round, where they decided to change their strategy from patience to peek everything. Now, we've talked about how the meta for defense has taken a little bit of a shift as of late, where a lot of teams are trying to be more aggro than they usually would, and on the defensive side, that is. And I get it, yeah, okay, maybe that's what you're trying to lead into. But Ninjas of Pajamas started the first 3 rounds passively, just waiting for Pain. And that worked out great, so why not keep doing that?
Because Pain were kind of unsure what to do because of things were eerily silent on the front, right? They didn't know how to react to NiP's passive plays. And well, just NiP making it very fast by the end seconds of the round. Last round's case was not really what Pain were expecting, I guess, but they were able to capitalize very well on it, as the peaks happened just as they were planning their assault. And well, you suddenly lose 2-3 players, you're not going to recover from that.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Ninjas of Pajamas fan, I'm sure you're hoping that they don't get a little bit too ahead of themselves, at least moving forward. And that last round was just a flash in the pan. Now, you could see Pino actually pushing his way into small tower. Now, this is dangerous for any defender in any defense. Doesn't matter what side it is, really. Being in junk tower or small tower is far off sight and leaves you exposed to the attackers, but it also could pay off really well. GCR in the small closet, looking to get the mute jammer once again. He's done this multiple times, but this time a little bit of a struggle, or he finally takes out that jammer.
Yeah, I was trying to be careful there to not alert the mute on the other side as Swag in this position. What's interesting is that NiP are not really bringing smoke. They're relying on the mute, and this is something we were talking about as the changes with the SMG-11 were rolling out. Well, there you go. He's just going to start to replace them, and the assault not happening just yet. The Nitro Cell is in the hand of Wog. It'll run away right as the flashbang comes in, but there's no commitment from Pain on this assault just yet with a minute 2 on the clock. That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah, generally just playing the position that Wog is in is very dangerous, and the fact that there are flashes in play for Pain makes it pretty much lethal for Ninjas of Pajamas, and it is not a good position to play. I understand he's got the kit for it, but he's just about to die in a few seconds here, or no, apparently. GCR will eat some damage and fall back. I have no idea how he missed the Wog. The shotgun comes out following the SMG-11, and Wog will die regardless. Just took him a little bit longer. 30 seconds left here for Pain, but they have the man advantage going into this take.
Yeah, Revolt has control of the hallway, and even will watch the main stairs just in case there's somebody to move in from below. And indeed, he will catch Psycho off. A free kill here for the Twitch. Pino cannot connect, but he'll find one. Headshot on FK1. Kamikaze with the second one. Diffuser is still not planted, but from the side, it's the GSH of Spawns will get a kill. 1v2 advantage for Pino and Julio on NiP. Revolt's the last man alive from the Twitch. He's already gotten some work done, but it's not going to be enough. No time left as he saves the op, proverbially. And that's the thing. NiP take that round, put it on the board. That's number 4. And even with the fact that WOG got a bit too aggressive in Generator, NiP are still able to close it because guess what? The rest of the team, they did not commit the same way that WOG did.
Yeah, I think the play from WOG has been, if nothing else, seems to be a distraction. I will say that I disagree with the need for somebody to play in Generator, and WOG has been playing it really poorly. I think there's definitely a way you can play that position, but not the way WOG has been doing it. He's seen no success there so far, and it has been thus far way too aggressive. I mean, if you think about the way that Pain have been trying to handle him in that position too, he could just sit in the corner and wait, and he did that. He survived a flash rush and peek from Pain twice, yeah, and still managed to persist. But eventually, WOG peaked and died, which is the same way he died the last time he was there. He just needs to stop doing that, and then he'd probably have more success there. But defensive half almost over here for NiP, so...
Yeah, it is the last round. They're able to take it. If anything, WOG's at least living up to his, I believe, Warhammer-inspired name, the Orc Assault, the WOG. And yeah, that
is it really?
Yeah, I believe.
Have you talked to him about that?
From what I've heard, that's where it comes from.
Huh.
So yeah, it does make a lot of sense, to be honest, the orcish assaults that we've seen. But nonetheless, even with his loss, that's only 1 round lost on the defense. And look at NiP, they were playing mostly not Laundry. And when they played it the one time, they were able to win it fairly easily. And the big change here, Psycho on the Cap.
Yeah, so Capcan is an interesting operator. He's definitely not terrible. He's good at delaying the attackers and forcing them to look at the thresholds of doorways. And the way we've been seeing Pain play so far, the fact that each of these rounds come down the last 30 seconds before the attack really starts to go, I think Capcan's the right call because it will slow down Pain even more. It's the same thing that you're seeing NiP do here with WAG as he's playing upstairs in the tower. He's just looking to delay as long as possible. And he is going to take out spawns with a nice placed shotgun blast to the torso. I'm surprised that was given away to him.
Oh, the shot's right into WOG. Wow, survives. FK1's bullets come right to the side. And I wonder why Spawns was the only one trying to assault that tower with no information given out by any drones or anything on the opposite end of it. GCR at least find 1 kill. It's a pretty big target there for him to find. No more Legion, which means Goo Mines and Meeting Hall possibly here forfeited for NiP.
This delay work coming from Ninjas in Pajamas thus far has been exceptional. The aggression turns out working this time from WAG. He's finally getting some kills. That's 2 for him and his first 2 in the match. And while NiP did lose Kamikaze, they still are very much in play. The run-up from Construction. Pino, what a play! FK1 goes down, and Pain Gaming are looking at a 5-1 scoreline going into the second half. It's not going to be easy to recover from.
Yeah, that's why you want your teammates to drone you in if you're the one that's supposed to nab the kill at the end of it. Regardless, Gabrielos will find the kill on Psycho, at least ending 1 player's life. Nitro Cell not available anymore. WOG is just watching the staircase, just trying to hunt down his opponents. It's a bit of parkour here being played. Grenade, or Candela has been thrown right to the side, and WOG cannot escape it, but they can't really spot him or contest them. Those stairs are very, very powerful.
A Candela is not something that you use to distract your opponent. It's something you use to kill your opponent, and it's something that Pain thus far have been unable to use properly. One thing that was really interesting to me is that technically speaking, Pain have a bit of a cutoff with WAG inside of tower, but they forfeited that cutoff and allowed WAG to come up from behind. Julia with the C4 from below as well, and Ninjas in Pajamas will lock out the round. A questionable play by Pain Gaming and unbridled aggression from WOG will allow for Ninjas in Pajamas to take the final round of the first half.
Is that a Nitro Cell or a mini nuke?
Well,
that thing hit all the way up to Meeting Hall. Sure, fair enough, I guess. But that's what happens when you're unable to secure your flank. Well, WOG will find a situation for him to excel, and he already got 2 kills in the tower itself. Drops down, takes you out from behind. There's nothing you can do. Sure, you're short on manpower. It's pretty much a 4v2 at the end of it. But it's kind of a basic thing you kind of need to do there.
That was 3 kills for Wag, and it was his first 3 in the entire match. And it was just him playing inside of tower. So Wag, obviously unable to defend Generator, but he has good fun in tower, which is interesting. Smoke is usually not considered to be the T3 roamer.
This is what I was saying. They used to put him up in Generator, where he would, or main bedroom even, where he would just fight everybody with a shotgun hole on an SMG-11 is suppressed with the smoke. Now he's going to do it in tower. The man cannot be stopped on these operators, as we'll head to round number 7. This is the first one on the Switch. NiP 2 rounds away from victory, and WOG this time will opt for the Monty. Try and deal with pain.
So Montaigne definitely going to be a useful tool for any team when attacking on, especially on a map like Oregon. I think you could use him in some really good ways. It's going to aid the basement attack quite a lot. Specifically, when you're coming down those laundry stairs, you're going to want to take out the mute jammers, since there's no other real tool to take care of that besides the Twitch and the Maverick, and those can be fickle in their success. So Montaigne going to be a very useful operator when we actually get into the match.
It makes a lot of sense in this case, at least for NiP. The fact that Pain also we're not bringing a Legion, so it's going to make things a bit more difficult. Remember, the Echo is not in play either because he was banned alongside the Maestro. So trying to deal with the Monty, well, now you have a few less options in the situation.
So we'll find out exactly what's going on. Seems like we've lost contact with the actual.
I think Brazil has completely disconnected off the planet.
We've talked about this before in the past. There are some times where we will have a full team. If you watch LATAM frequently, I'm sure you may have noticed is that there will
like last week.
Yeah, we'll have a team where it'll just disconnect, and it's because internet's gone down, power's gone down. Sometimes it happens, often, especially in Sao Paulo, I've heard, if it's like a rainstorm.
There was a huge thunderstorm last week when it was FaZe Team Liquid. Huge game. Everybody was looking forward to it, and then after one round, 3 times in a row, everybody from FaZe dropped.
Yeah.
It's
nothing they could do about it.
Nature.
Yeah, when FaZe was dropping, it was due to a rainstorm, from my understanding.
We're not sure here if it's like the players that dropped, or we lost things out because of like production feed or something. So
what to do? I don't know what song that is.
Me neither.
But it's catchy already. I mean, that's the first time hearing it.
Oh, I guess we are still live in the round, so in just a few seconds we'll be heading in. So far, it's still the attack, and actually the assault is happening as we speak.
It's going on right now, right in front of our faces, so you should be able to see it soon.
Radiocast. WOG has penetrated into Laundry's in the back supply room, and Spawns is trying to fight him in the meantime with the Valkyrie. There's no Nitro Cell to deal with him, and I know you can't see it, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about. FK1 is still sitting in the basement corridor. Julio gets a kill and revolts. It's an equilibrium, but there you go. Pino's going to get picked up here on the Ash. Half health, and FK1's going to try to fire in the back. He'll take down Julio, but instantly refrag. The fuse should get picked up here, as Gabrielos is low on health on the smoke. Still, no Nitro Cell to use against the Monty, and they'll fire right to the side. And guess what? Monty is still alive, but now with barely 2 bullets, and Gabrielos goes in. 2 kills at the end of the SMG-11, more than enough to shut down NiP, and the basement attack does not work. It appeared to have been a push from construction and tower down into stockroom.
Yeah, a back push there from Ninjas in Pajamas, but it did not work out, as we got to see the end of that round, luckily. I see what they were thinking there with the Montaigne and coming from the back. They didn't 6-pick to the Montaigne as far as I could remember, but they might have. But either way, clearly Pain were prepared to repel a attack from the flank. And that, all right, I mean, that makes sense. It's a really... Attacking from construction is a bit of a risk, for no matter who you are, no matter what kit you're bringing. If you're bringing a Montaigne, that's going to be a very useful tool in that attempt. But there's still certain positions and certain ways that you can counter it from the defensive side. And, well, Pain managed that. There's not much more to say. It all comes down to the actual engagement. It's not exactly a very complicated strategy, and thus the counter isn't complicated. And Yeah, gunfights.
And it's not like we saw too much of it, but yeah.
We saw some of it.
Yeah.
I wish we could have seen the start of the round.
Yeah, I mean, I tried my best there at the end. I'm no Joe Miller, you know, I'm no Tosspot from the olden days where even Red Eye, they all used to cast when everybody would like log on to Napster and try to, you know, listen to radio casts, but it's not 2007 anymore. But we got it working, right? Round number 8, and change. There's no Monty for NiP on the assault. And guess what? Julio is living up to Latin America's name and still bringing the Thermite for this attack. So Revolt's playing the Mira as well. It seems a lot of Mira. Whenever it's available, it is going to be played here. Fairly flexible operator for this sort of defense. And I guess they put up the utility upstairs. So we unfortunately cannot go directly and see them because we do not control the spectator camera ourselves. But at least we'll see Pino taking control of tower.
Yeah, the Mira is interesting because she's not as frequently played in some of the other regions as she is in LATAM, but she's definitely still very popular across the board. She's got a high ban rate everywhere, just a higher pick rate in LATAM than most places. You can see Pain setting themselves up all over the place here, trying to roam downstairs. The Twitch drone from Ninja Pajamas already doing some work, taking out the mute jammers. Not going to be relying on the blowtorch for this attacking half.
And what's the biggest difference here compared to NiP? Pain Gaming do not have a player like we saw WOG doing, sitting in generator, trying to contest his opponents in there. So the Buck has just easy rain to walk in right by the window and then destroy any utility next to it, and that'll allow the Thermite of Julio to open up the wall and set up for information before they enter and assault the site.
Pino is doing his best to enter in downstairs so he can use that skeleton key, but as you can see, Pain, in a stark contrast to Ninja Pajamas, will be roaming heavily downstairs. NiP were roaming in Meeting Hall and in Tower, but they didn't have anyone inside of Kitchen most of those defensive rounds of the top floor. FK1 already proving that his way is best way as he takes down WOG. Very tight angle towards the main lobby and classroom area. And that's proving that the fragging potential for FK1 is truly there.
And GCR going for the peak here, I believe, against the Twitch, but no damage will be done. So all the shots here will connect to the side of the wall. And grenade cooked up by Pino will go to the back, but not connect with GCR. ADSs in the back have been cleared. As you see, grenade will do a tiny bit of damage to the Mira, but not enough to really push people away. At least Revolt's remaining in the same spot. And the attack seems to stall out.
This is the same thing we were seeing on the last half, coming down to the final 30 seconds for both squads, it seems, on the attacking side. And this is what we were talking about, the potential for it to even out. So we could go to another draw for NiP if this continues. Kamikaze working his way in downstairs, and you can see the attack at the generators doing its best. Psycho's going to get a kill here, the first one for Ninja Pajamas. Mirror window disabled, but he's going to lose the fight. Julio, disappointing engagement there. Psycho, a second for himself and his team, second overall. And it's just a sweep for Pain Gaming. They're going to clean things up and win a very easy defense, thanks to the limiting factor that is time.
Time, nobody clearing the bottom floor, and it was only one player dedicated the first time, and then one player as well the second time. And well, when there's nobody really to help one another downstairs, when you have no information on the two players that are playing between the bathroom and the kitchen, you're gonna have a hard time. And you saw what happened with Pain. The instant NiP went to go for a rush, what did Pain do? Fall back and use the white stairs to their advantage. Valkyrie holding the bottom, Mira holding the top. The instant you lose white stairs, that plant's coming down and you're not going to get it back.
So, a really confusing attacking half for both teams.
Yes.
Neither team seems capable of attacking on Oregon so far. That's what we're seeing be the case.
Yeah.
We're seeing also some definitely solid defenses from both squads. But I think a lot of this is coming down to the strategies on the attacking side being a little bit lackluster and really timid is the word I would use to describe both squads on attack.
It's a lot of tunnel vision syndrome, basically. Oh, we're attacking the top floor. Okay, we're just going to spend all of our time looking upstairs, and maybe one of us will look at the bottom floor and see what we can do. But what happens most of the time in that situation? Well, you end up losing that player, and you have one last player to commit to an assault that usually is coming in from one angle in the hallway. Well, here at least, there'll be a hold in the tower. So the Ela is the big change for Pain, which obviously allows them to have a lot of firepower up close. And you see the Mira actually set up in a way where you can hold on from the inside of the attic instead of the usual reverse where somebody in tower is watching attic itself, which is pretty peculiar.
You see Ninjas of Pajamas, first thing they're going to be doing into this round is setting up to deny the runouts, which makes a lot of sense. When attacking tower, you need to go for repel. It's just one of the tools that are required of you. FK1 going to continue fragging out as the Jaeger, and we'll take down Psycho. He is the only one on T2/T3 of tower, which means if Ninjas of Pajamas can take him out, then it's going to be a pretty easy attack here. If they just get one player. With that player, it's pretty tall hurdle in FK1 as he's been doing a fantastic job of holding on to this thus far.
Yeah, he's got a pretty nice angle here to use. Definitely. Oh, look at that. That's a nice setup there. Expecting somebody to, at least as they're moving to the other side of that window, to get shot instantly. Now, will that top floor be relegated and be given away to the Ninjas? We'll just have to see. Julio at least gets one kill as he peeks right into the main doorway here of tower, and FK1 still holding on to the stairs, fearful of any assaults from his opponent's grenade right down, and Pino. Guess what? That Jaeger is still gonna have to worry about those grenades. Spawn's still watching the Mira window as you see how it's set up. This allows him to just fire into anybody coming into the tower.
This meeting hall roam seems to be a miscalculation by Pain as it leaves the rest of tower very exposed. There's nobody on the defense actually in tower right now.
They literally have control of the entire thing. And I'm not sure if drones have located the Ela in the back, but Julio quickly dispatches GCR. So at least no more Valkyrie in there. And you see the Candela already being thrown in. The Ela quickly dispatched by WOG, and that's stark contrast to what we saw in the previous round, where the Candelas are being used effectively for the assault and kamikaze. Lands the last kill on Revolts, hiding in the back by the meeting stage. An NiP efficient attack with barely any manpower dedicated to the inside of the tower. They barely walked into the site. They just got kills on the outside and then finished off the last guy that was sitting somewhere in meeting hall.
Yeah, so that was a decent attack from Ninjas of Pajamas, but I think also a really poor defense from Pain Gaming. They had, throughout that round, one player in tower on a tower defense. That is, what?
Yeah.
Confusing hold there from Pain Gaming.
Was there anybody in T3 even?
No, no one in T3. Through the whole round, they had no. They decided instead to try and open up the floor of T3
and fight it from below.
They can fight it from below, but that did not work out for them, clearly. We had FK1 challenging it. There was a smoke in T1 of tower for some part of the round, but he was also roaming around. He was partially in meeting hall for a chunk there. The main thing, though, for Pain was that they over-invested in the meeting hall, and because Ninjas of Pajamas decided not to attack from meeting hall, there was no pressure from those meeting hall players. Another thing that's really important is meeting hall players are restricted to just there. They can't run out and try to challenge people who are on repel, which is something you need to do on tower. So I think overall, really bad setup there from Pain.
Yeah, there's a reason why we highlight T3 so much on that tower defense, because now I understand the logic behind that mirror window being set up in the attic. It's just because, oh, well, we have a destroyed wall, soft wall next to it. Well, we can use that to contest the players coming into T3. We have holes opened up in the rafters. So all of that basically gives us the ability to fight, but that is only theoretically. And in practice, it's not really going to work out most of the time. You see here now Pain going all the way back down to the basement laundry, and we'll see if they can win this out again as NiP opt out of the Monty, something that they used earlier on, but they're still a match point. So all one round, that's all that NiP need for those 3 points.
Yeah, so good job to Ninjas of Pajamas. Very close here. 3 rounds, though, we could see a draw. Another one, 2 in a row. I mean, there are some teams that get quite a lot of draws in a row.
SSG.
I feel really bad for Space Station.
Yeah.
I know this is a total sidetrack, but they've been playing so good this season, and then they also haven't got anything really to show for it with just draws, and it's like it's a tough one. Anyway, in this match, we have Ninja Pajamas pretty close here to getting a win. And, of course, they want to avoid a draw as much as possible, considering they drew their previous match.
Yeah, and it's around that week 5, week 6 time where, you know, teams start to get sorted of, okay, who is going to actually fight for the top to go to LAN, and who is going to have a harder time possibly just trying to stay in Pro League. And, you know, we approach the halfway point. This is week number 6, or play day number 6.
What's more like week number 4?
3, actually.
3?
Technically.
Yeah.
It's Super Year. Welcome, Siege 24/7. But the interesting part is that GCR continues to roam the top floor at a minute 18 on the clock. Nobody contesting him.
Yeah, so having these roamers up here, again, they're good if the attackers are going to try and challenge them, but clearly that's not the plan for Ninjas in Pajamas. Once more, they're going for a attack strategy that is mainly focused around the construction/tower, which definitely a viable strategy, but a dangerous one and a risk for NiP, as they've tried this before with the Montaigne, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, but in the back still has his 3 smoke canisters, so can use those at any point in time. The rear window as well facing the tower has already been popped. And I wonder if that was the Twitch that did it, or was it on purpose? Ah, there you go. So it was opened up by the Twitch, so there's extra angle that you can use as well to chuck utility in. Spawn's taking damage from his own teammate's smoke. As he goes down to half health, Pino prepping for a grenade around the side to try and take down the Valkyrie, but the ADS clears it out. Candela thrown into the back as it'll blind everybody. T95, oh, 95 there, not enough. The LSW, 2 kills for NiP to try and redeem themselves and make that 3. Spawns will use the Nitro Cell to no avail. Nobody's knocking on that door. And GCR, well, he wishes he had a C4 in this situation. He'll get shot down by Kamikaze, and that is all she wrote, I guess. Spawns will get 1. Diffuser's been set. See the fat lady sings there, trying to give information out to the Valkyrie, but it's going to need a bit more than just the MPX. Little ammo now left even in the magazine, so Spawn's going to have to basically bait his opponents into worst positions. And he's going to come out of the hallway. Damage more done to Kamikaze here. Twitch finally being tagged, but it's all the Kamikaze needed as he turns around the corner, faces the Valkyrie, and cleans it all up. NiP efficiently done. A 7-3 victory for the Ninjas.
Kamikaze was the hero of that round. And it wasn't due to the kills that he managed to get. It was because he was the only one on his team who efficiently used his utility. The grenades from Buck missed. The Yin Candelas were really poor. But the Twitch got the mirror window. And that was so huge because getting that mirror window, not only, again, was it the only real well-used utility from Ninjas in Pajamas, but also it forced the defenders to fall further back, which